The 2025 iRacing season has well and truly kicked off, and I couldn't be more excited to bring you the beginning of the SoF series for the Skip Barber Championship. We're here for the Australian drivers yet again as they bring one of the most stacked fields I've ever seen in a Formula field. Don't say it's just an iRacing learner's car. This is the Super Skippy Sunday Week 1 at Virginia North. What a beautiful, if not very, very tricky track. I've seen more than enough of this, having driven some LMP3 endurance this week. VIR, great learning track in iRacing nowadays, with this north layout taking you right up a treacherous hill and all the way back down into the roller coaster to do it again. Not going to see too much drafting like you usually see at VIR in these cars, but instead you're going to see some real side-by-side hustling. Well, I greatly appreciate all of the warm welcoming from this community as we kick off a brand new season of racing with the Australian field. I'm Howie Burroughs. I'm going to be running it solo today. But trust me, you'll get to see some other drivers and other names in good measure throughout the course of the season. And what a great place to start the championship, I think. This wasn't a free track when I first drove these cars. Wasn't even a thought on the schedule, but it's since become one of iRacing's most classic free courses ever since they got that visual rework. I played in around 2020, and this was like the main D-Class series on the field, if I recall correctly. I took some time off. When I came back, it had been replaced in many, many ways, but it's still a beautiful, beautiful car on a beautiful, beautiful newer course. So we're running through qualifying right now. Let's just go and get the current timings up as we have right now. I think I've grabbed our greatest driver, pressing the wrong button to put me to sleep. I know it's Tim Hendrickson on the field. This field has gone massive, I'm telling you. Adam Miles in P1 has a 9,200 I rating. It's just magnificent how stacked this field has gotten. And the SoF is I believe, 5k plus. Our weakest driver here, a 3.3. The Australians promised they'd bring out an absolutely stacked, glorious field. I think they've definitely done so in good measure. We'll see if I can catch on board with one of these drivers as they head around. It's just about picking it correctly. I think our car number 5, Ryan Chenoweth, is best set to give us a run through the lap. As he piles up the S's right now after already making it out of the NASCAR bend, which haunted me in my LMP3 non-stop all Friday night. That car locks up and slides and does whatever it wants. This car likes a little bit of a slide as well, though, going into many of these bends, as drivers are starting to set in their lap times right now. Tim Hendrickson setting up the fastest lap by a significant margin at this point in time. That's not the fastest lap overlay. That's not going to help us. That'll do it. Sernej Zorket currently in the P2. Zorek. I'm always bad with names. There's one thing you're going to get to know about me is that names aren't my thing. Yeah, they don't work. And Christian Kabanka. This is my time to test this, because in an SOS series, you don't get to know these drivers until the slot fills up exactly on time for you. And that's Joachim Osbeck. I'm getting good at this. Jeff Randall, Jasko Seversky. That's Ryan Chenoweth there crossing the line with a lap that is currently a P6. Adrian Brook in 18. I've been told there are already bets going out in the chat. Tim is the least great driver. I think the Australians are just out for each other's blood, quite frankly. And hey, I don't know your interpersonal dramas. Maybe I'll get to know all of your interpersonal dramas as the season develops. So, got to know some of these drivers quite well from the community in the last few months. Just hopping in, trying to learn this car myself a little bit more. It really was one day just this unique bastion of being the most popular series in iRacing. And let me tell you, though, if you thought that that's the only blessing, it was a very different series. A series of very different nature and a very different character, because being the only D series, it was also filled with a lot of unusual drivers, and I would say myself, a lot of idiots. About 2 Australians in this field. What region then, Russellus Prime, has woken up to make this one happen? Which region came together if there's only about 2 Australians in the field? We'll find out when the grid comes in. Here's your numbers working again as the drivers just come out to finish their qualifying laps very, very soon. And I absolutely appreciate and wholeheartedly thank everyone here for the very, very warm reception on our biggest stream so far. Although we're hopefully going to get much, much bigger than here. Now, going solo on commentary does make you a little bit loopy, and it does make you say some of the weirdest stuff you've ever seen. So thankfully, this is a fairly short series. Races usually no lasting more than half an hour, because with no one to throw to, you've only got yourself in your head. You've got to listen to yourself in your head all day, all time long. There's plenty of great co-commentators on the field, and there's plenty great I'll be able to pull out for future races in the series. But this week, I've just had to run this myself. Neil is about AU. Yeah, well, I'm not. I'm going to let the Aussies talk between themselves about whether someone from New Zealand counts. I think we have all of our qualifying laps set. Qualifying's going to last a few. Oh, it's going to end straight away, so I need to quickly rush to this grid because iRacing gives you basically no time at all to talk before the green flag. I probably won't get to everybody here. Let's just say Adam Miles is starting on P1 with Tim Hendrickson right behind him with a super tiny gap in P2. Marcus Dorner in P3 with Dario Frattini in 4. Neil Gardner in 5. Zorek in 6th. Christopher Chabanga in 7th with Tero Haytanen. I'm going with that one. In 8th. Jonathan Posbeck in 9th, with Brian Chinowith in 10th, Jeff Randall in 11th, Adrian Brook in 12th. We have a couple more cars in the field, but I would quite like to meet these guys out just before they launch off the grid. Sometimes iRacing just gives you no time whatsoever, and you're off to the races, and you're just then panicking trying to pick up the pieces. Tim not first? Well, you should have told him to drive just that tiny, tiny bit faster. Yernesh's journey. Don't know if I've gotten that right or if I've gotten that wrong. The answer is I've more than likely gotten it wrong. As soon as I start seeing more of these drivers every single week, it's going to get easier. It's going to get easier. We're going to start locking it in. Eventually, I'm going to be like a name pronunciation god around here. I thought the split was going to be for the Australians and it was going to be easy. Forgive me. I can. We do have time for me then to say that Vasco Zaversky is in 13th and Martin Van. I've gotten this wrong before and I've gotten crap from him about this. Martin Van. I'm going to go with Ekelen. I don't know why I called it Eccleston. It's definitely Ekelen. Yeah, there's no S in there whatsoever. Got some wild taunting in the chat already. Tim coming from behind. Well, turn 1, 2, and 3 on this track are pretty nasty. The NASCAR bend followed by the horrible little kink to the right. All drivers are on the grid. We're going to get going as soon as iRacing deems us ready. And the lights are out. We're green at Virginia. Jeff Randall gets a good launch with Adam Miles just behind. Neither truly getting the advantage out of the gate. That 13 there of Dorner almost trying and get a nose in, along with Frattini on the outside. He looks like he might be making this stick for now. The course is going to quickly come out from under these drivers and turn harsh to the right. Adam Miles still holding the lead up against Tim. Looks like that number 4 of Frattini has indeed kept that P2 for now. We'll get the field up as it stands right there. Adam Miles with a good launch, but Hendrickson is absolutely by no means done. And we're about to cut right out of this track and start going uphill after a few more of these tricky little S's. You don't get to run the whole S's. It's down behind. That's Tero Herrickman gone off the road straight into the wall. He may as well consider his win over, but they're side by side going up the hill. Tim Hendrickson on the inside. He's going to force Adam Miles wide. A very, very good save there to keep it back together on the road. And down behind, Marcus Dorner almost tries to get that door in for P3. Tight chasing and hustling so far. And Hendrickson is now, I start to feel his gap growing a little bit more than it did out of the start. Maybe he is indeed a man at a pace that likes to start from behind and fight for that P1 as we dip ourselves right out of that north course, and we're straight into the end of the track as we dip out over the roller coaster, the final few turns. And it's a short lap, only 15 of them around here. It's going to be over just as quickly as you know it. Very much a reformatted schedule this year as of last year. Fantastically set up to add some of the most popular tracks in iRacing. Adam Miles gets the draft down the start-finish straight. Very, very drafty cars as ever. And he's looking to try and get that advantage out into turn 1. Long right-hander, though. I think Hendrickson will have him back. Adam Miles has the inside set up now for the nasty little bend. Could hold this out. It's all going to be about who carries the most speed and momentum. There's a bit of a slide there for Hendrickson behind. And in fact, Frattini has taken that gap and said, I will take that. Thank you very much. Drop back into 2 with Tim Hendrickson. Zorex also dropped a fair bit. I see Neil Gardiner there in the number 3, just behind, having made up that place in this opening melee. Taking a look at Hendrickson right now, I don't think he's anywhere near done. This top 3 could be fighting every single lap of the race until either there's some disaster or we get a conclusive victor out of this one. Adam Miles running away a little bit, but I don't think there's any big runaways. I didn't quite know that the draft was still going to work here, because we've taken away the giant long straight, and instead we still have that long start finish down, and we've already seen quite a bit of drafting action down there. 15 goes around. Pistons are going to be traded unlike anything else. I'd love to go back to some replays of maybe the incident on the start, but I don't think we're going to get a shot. There's 4 drivers in with a shot going into this turn 1 as we loop back around the course one more time, and it's Adam Miles on the right as they do send it free wide, and Tim Hendrickson is going to take that free wide. I swear Gardner wanted to make it 4. Gardner wanted to make it 4, and he wasn't quite going to take it. It's Hendrickson and Miles side by side again in the first few bends. I don't see Frattini making that gap in quite this moment. I want to see if I can catch the on board of him just chasing them around a little bit. He wants to stick a nose in, but I think he knows restraint, and I think he knows responsibility, as that's a Christian Chabanga there, fallen quite a little bit behind. Not much time to make up in these races. I think you make one of those mistakes, you might as well be out for good. Here's Adam Miles now in this top 4 melee. There's going to be good battles up and down the grid, but we can only focus on the most exciting one of them all as they funnel through the north course uphill. Who was I kidding? Here's Adrian Brook as well in a very, very close chase near the back around some of the other drivers that got a little bit wiped out. You see the back of this train is led by Ryan Chinaweth. I believe I've caught him before on Skip Barber Racing before, but it's all just strung out as this very, very big line. They're running all single file, and they've barely broken up apart from big mistakes, and that means it's anyone's game to claim this first win. Give me a little bit of time to appreciate the engine of the Formula 1600. What a classic car. Some things don't change, and there's Adam Miles making a massive dive up the inside. He's going to get away with it with that draft down the start-finish straight. That start-finish, I thought it would be nothing. I thought it would be nothing whatsoever, and it has become absolute drafting spectacular. Gardner, the guy in the bathtub, I've definitely watched those live streams. The wild stream overlay of him racing from a bathtub with every single overlay on the top of the stream. It's good to recognize a few names and get to know them out here. This sort of racing up at the front is exactly what the Skip Barber Series is all about. This is between Zorek and Dorna behind. Dorna going to take the P6, but they're looking for the 5 up ahead. Hendrickson's going to try and make another move down the short straight. Travis going so wide there. It's terrifying how far over the white line and over onto that little curbing they get. I think every lap is going to be their last. Well, they've gotten away with it so far. I'm about to press a button, and I hope this isn't the worst idea I've had in my entire life. So if it is, I'm sorry, but if I'm right, it wasn't quite what I expected. I was expecting to see some cars there. Well, There we go. We'll take that. Thank you very much, ATVO, for bringing the magic with some of your updates. I'll just leave that one sitting around there. Why not? Got some more screen real estate to use. The draft train, it resumes. This time it's Frattini's chance to go in. They're going to go 3 wide on each other again, actually. All the way down the start-finish into this tricky right-hander. The outside lane's going to actually really squeeze the middle there. That's Adam Miles just nastily squeezed between two. Amazed that didn't turn into a bigger incident. Is there damage on Adam Miles' wing? Only one way to find out is looking at that gyro. Tiny bend, but the aero, as we know, doesn't do terribly much on these cars, so I think he'll get away with that for now. It takes some restraint. It takes some restraint for 5 to 6K drivers to not, like, break each other's kneecaps off in the high-intensity combat around here, I think. I would just see that and think there's death. I've raced D-Class when this was the only sports car series. And yes, it was certainly considered a road series. Down further behind is Marcus Dorner, Jeff Randall, and Zenesh Journey. I've been told it's Journey. Journey Zorek. I've been just saying Zorek. I just see a name. I see a first name, and I'm just like, I can't do that. We're doing the same. But I've been told it might be Journey Zorek. And if I've been tricked by chat, then so be it. I'm too trusting. I'm too believing. Going to be 10 to go next time around when this field goes down, and I've done a couple, broadcasted a few races at Summit Point in these cars, and the story I got from them is you can make absolutely no guesses as to who's going to win in a car this drafty up until the very, very end. And next week really will be an absolutely drafty experience as they head to the Le Mans circuit. God forbid we see the top speed record on these cars absolutely broken. Adam Miles and Hendrickson running the side-by-side one more time. One more time, and many no. And you want to be in front up on the S's. You don't necessarily want to be up on the front just for that start-finish, unless you just accept the trading of places and you accept the battle for what it is. This top 3 all keep it together, but I think Neil Gardner here is keeping people very, very honest behind. Now that is, I've just worked out what that is. And that is, it's half Marlboro and half Buzz and Hornets from the Jordan. And I thought it was 2 different cars, and now I can see the trick Gardner's played on us. Love seeing some of these vintage F1 liveries come out. Oh God, no, it's half Marlboro with a Red Bull on the side. No, that's illegal. You can't do that. Not in my town. He does sneak on by, though. There's a big drop down from Adam Miles. It definitely probably isn't damage, but he has now dropped away to make this sort of top 3 form itself. One more run down the start-finish. 9 to go. I think it will be 8 when the line is crossed. No, it will be 9 to go when the line is crossed. Maths are hard. Don't say that when you're solo casting, maths are easy by any means. As both of these drivers, they file into the right-hand line. And Adam Miles seems to get a bit of a slingshot, but it's not enough to catapult him around the bend. This entire, top... Really, it's a top 8 field. Ryan Chenoweth at the back of it. It's as tight as ever, and it really could be anyone's. I've seen sort of disasters unfold when drivers get a bit too close, and an unexpected winner joins the fray. Just taking a look at some of the drivers further back, trying to get some focus on some more people around here. Is Osbeck battling out with Savosky to make that position. And you can just see further down the road the rest of the battle unfold. I want to see what's on the Buzz and Hornet side of that car, because putting a Red Bull on the side of the Marlboro ain't right. But I've not really gotten a good angle to help me analyze and see quite what's made out the other end. We'll get it eventually. Adam Miles would just choose default colors instead. Which, I mean, if you're the number 1 on a 6K field, you can basically do whatever you want. Just run whatever designs you feel like. What are they going to do? Stop you? And by the way, I love the cold hard reality of the racing or C and D series is your only series, where our 8.2K driver is a C 4.52. And all I'll say is, you don't need it to be any higher if this is your favourite series, man. Don't need it to be a bit higher. Adam Miles now up on the inside. He has the draft. 2 more 2 wide packs behind. Adam's going to slot into that P3, and if he gets the outbreak done cleanly, oh, he's got a big slingshot right up into the rear of the cars in front. He is basically straight back in this game, but I've not seen the other cars behind risk having an impact yet. It's only been between this 4. Everyone's sort of within range to play this game, but the drivers behind, they're within range, but the drivers behind haven't made it happen yet. But I still think it's completely on brand and in character, and very possible indeed. Pratini holding the lead right now. You see just a little bit of dirt getting kicked up on the track thanks to the new iRacing updates, but this entire field is scary. Adam Miles further behind here. Fratiti and Hendrickson playing the side-by-side up the hill. Don't let him send it 3 wide on you is the only tip I would give you. We don't want to end our first race in tears and drama in the community, okay? I'd rather keep it clean around here. That is, I've seen that livery quite a little bit more there as Hendrickson gets bumped wide on the edge. I thought it was like something Williams, and actually it's Dunkersaw. And I know about the Dunkersaw Discord bot. I know there's also an app associated with it. I saw it on the Formula Ford Festival broadcast, and so I've definitely seen that design around, and more than just Dario as well. It's classy, though. It's classy. Another 3 wide down the start-finish line. With the cars behind that, Jeff Randall almost choosing to make it 5 wide. He could have made it 5. Instead, it's a 3 and a 2. He's decided to really join this fray. There's too much to look at right now between these drivers. Look at how close they will run. Dirty Air who? Dirty Air who? Not my Dirty Air indeed. Hendrickson leads the fray right now. But it's 2s and then 2s and then 1s and then 1 and then 1. The only driver, the last driver that could be a part of this is Zorak, and while he has sat behind the field for now, just a little bit of unlucky contact between drivers ahead, and everything will get turned on its head. Adam Miles side by side now as Hendrickson tries to make whatever gap he can. If he can get out of that slingshot range in this tricky section, then he might finally be able to have a little bit of peace to himself in this race lobby. And there's nothing like going down a straight in a Skip Barber and actually not being harassed by somebody else alongside the way. Like, nothing like it. It's all right there. It looks like it's made up some positions. It looks like it's Shinoef having gone backwards. Looks like the car a little bit damaged, but still drivable to the end. Hendrickson has that 6/10 advantage. We're going to find out now whether it's enough to get Fratiti off the rear. Will there be a slingshot dive into turn 1? That's Adam Miles making a slingshot on Fratiti. They have cleared up the gap. They have closed it up, but 6/10 looks like it's enough to not lose your lead. Of course, now we're playing the game where that lead is not going to get lost under any circumstances. We have 6 to go. At VIR, the time flies when you are having fun. And this top 3 are all in it to win it. Jeff Randall has slowed down, dropped back a bit, and he's holding up Neil Gardner down further behind, who might be able to make some slipstreams work. He's going to have to earn his way back into this race as they fling into that infield. All I'll say about VIR, apart from what I've said earlier today, is I'm not looking forward to driving 4 hours of a Clio at the Grand Course for the Aeon Esports team, but some things just have to be done. Clio gang, Clio gang, Clio gang. I believe it. You guys would love the Clio. It's right within character for you. I love the Clio, but then I'm biased, you know. If it's front-wheel drive, I'll just take it. Try out some TCRs if you're into this sort of style of racing. You won't regret it. You won't regret it. Adam Miles has the launch on Hendrickson, and with what should be 6 to go, should be 5 to go. Yeah, it takes us a little minute for that to update. He's going to lead the field for now. The gap there between top 3 and Gardner, significant. I'd consider them out of this game. And with that, there were 3. Woo, look at the fancy things we can do with our overlays. I am a consummate professional, I'll have you know. I am a consummate iRacing professional. I can press buttons and I can make the funny effects happen. So that will do. Still a battle down here, further behind, very much like the ones we've seen earlier. Gardner was able to stick on this pack earlier, and now he's going to try everything he can to possibly catch up. But Dorner and Randall have been having their own back-and-forth fight of their own. I'm not usually a believer in the dogma that you can just work together and get all the way back up to the front, especially with this few laps to go, but I definitely wouldn't discount something unusual happening between these 3. It's amazing that a 13 car is still 4K iRating. One day I'll actually be on those heights, but until then, I'll be in the gutter as we see dirt being just dragged up onto the track and kicked up by these cars again. It will be 4 to go. 4 more attempts at this start-finish straight when the line is crossed. As expected, Hendrickson making the slipstream through, and it looks like that 4 for TT is going to try and join in too, but I think that momentum just got stalled there by the 2, and he's not going to be able to play those games at this time. Left-hand side seems to have the advantage in this complex, because even though you have that right hand on turn 1, you get 2 big left hands, including the terrifying hook. The hook is the word I was looking for. That hook scares me. Like, not many corners scare me, but in that hook, every time it just comes up, I think, whoa, what do you mean it just came out of nowhere? Just swept me onto my feet. Certainly wasn't fun going 24x in a 25x DQ race. Ospec for now, further behind. This is Ospec getting past, I'm going to get this right, Sarovsky? It's Sarovsky. It's definitely Sarovsky. If I've called you Savosky, then trust me, I'll get better at it every single week. It's just great though when the session forms just minutes before the start, and you just have to panic around, hit every button to make the stream work, and then also try to work out who corresponds to what name on the field. 3 drivers in for a shot to win, and we're going to get the same story as ever as we jump into a chopper cam at the cockpit cam. If we jump into chopper cam for our start finish, we're going to look for TT's view behind to see whether he gets the true jump that he really wants. They are 3 wide. Hendrickson takes the advantage. But for TT's alongside, Adam Miles is out of this chase for now. Don't say forever. Oh, that hook. I'm going to curse that hook every time I see it now. Send me off the track and send me into the grass, won't you? Take me out of this race, won't you? If this, I reckon, under the, it's great that we're doing the North course here. I think it is a very, very fun course. But all I'll say is, imagine the carnage of the long start-finish straight. Well, next week, same time on the channel, the Skip Barber Series goes to Le Mans for the longest road car straight on all of iRacing. So it's going to be an absolute drafting extravaganza, only 5 laps of the course. It will be here on the same channel at the same time. So make sure to tune in. If you want to see how fast you can make a little Skip Barber go. I don't want to, that first chicane, we have a word for it. It's called biblical. And it scares me. Adam Miles is going to be able to make a shot on this lap as we approach 2 to go. He's going to hold that advantageous left side for now. Even slightly has the advantage coming into the bend. Pertini locked out for now. Taking some more peeks behind here. Ospek and Sarowski have been playing their own side-by-side game and battle every single lap. Here's Christian Kabanka as well, leading a field of Adrian Brook and Journey Zorek behind. But going up the hill, side by side. In fact, they want to send it free wide in a place we haven't seen them send it free wide before as we begin to approach this uphill. And Frattini knows the move he wants to make on this final lap of the race coming up, because that was an excellent way of potentially locking it in. Ain't the final lap now, but you're almost setting up the move you're going to make. So many of these races, you're just sort of waiting and jostling and waiting for the final lap to make your tremendous battle. Any Oval fans, any Super Speedway fans know exactly what I'm talking about when you've got to bide your time for the race, trade your places, and then the elbows come out as we to approach the final lap. Frattini leads the field crossing the line, but it won't be like this forever. 2 more big slipstream opportunities, really 3 more, because that's quite a far down start-finish line, but this is our first time running this full straight. That's the white flag from Barney the Flagman. Tim Hendrickson has the lead now, but Adam Miles will hold that outside. They're going to go free wide all the way into the first bend. There's bumping and collisions. They're still holding it together. Hendrickson just trying now to find his window in. There's not much time left, not many chances. I'm amazed they've kept it so clean and respectful, though, the whole way around. And I don't think it'll end in tears with the way these guys are driving. I think we'll see a dogfight to the end. Adam Miles definitely going to enjoy this run up, these early S's, hoping to have the advantage going into the uphill. If he holds it, he could have come home with this win. Neil Gardner's done a great job there also, following his way up the field. He won't be able to join this dogfight in time, but he's certainly shown he has the pace in clean air and the ability to pass drivers, and he may just be able to lock in that P4. It's the 1, the 2, and the 4. 4, 1, 2, and 3. Much as predicted. Adam Miles goes a bit wide. We hit the roller coaster. And I'm going to have to get the chopper cam and just sit down and enjoy this draft train to the end. This could be any one of them, but Adam Miles has a great exit, and I think he has potentially what it takes to lock in a win. Hendrickson there sort of blocking Frattini, who could have had a chance in. Adam's going to try holding the inside. There is momentum on the outside here, and Tim Hendrickson has actually held it over the line. Oh, I knew that there would be a real chase. And Tim Hendrickson, I really thought that one was Adam Miles, but that's a Skip Barber race for you. Just going to run the slow-mo. Here's Hendrickson's car on board. He is our P1. That's the point where he gets the advantage. You see Barney with the checkered flag, and that's his to claim. It's not a photo finish. Adam Miles definitely loses out on that draft train, but holding that inside was the absolute best he could have possibly done. Well, it's a Skip Barber finish. It's a Skip Barber finish. What can I say? I've seen these before, and we'll see these plenty of times still. Up at the front, that top 3, holding it respectfully and holding it cleanly the whole way to the end. And an absolutely fantastic race and fantastic battling. We're just going to run through the finishing order now, preferably without the noise. Apply the camera. Get me the grid. Get me the full screen results. That'll do it. I'm just going to click around a lot and eventually work out where I'm going. Tim Hendrickson, by 0.04 of a second, wins the draft train over the line to claim the win at Virginia, but Adam Miles held him off around. Frattini was always in for a shout. Behind him, Neil Gardner in 4th, Marcus Dornler in 5th, Jeff Randall in 6th, with Vasco Saversky in 7th. Joachim Ospek in... No, I've been told it's Journey. What am I doing? Journey Ospek in 8th, with Ryan Chinowith in 9th, and Christian Sabanga in 10th. A little bit further down, Adrian Brook finishes in 11th. No, it's not. That's Journey Zorek. My formal apologies to whoever I just blatantly said a different word for there. I'm checking. it was Josh Mospek because it's Journey Zorek in 12th with Tero Hitanen in 13th. It always had to be the Finnish drivers that showed up, and Martin van Ekkelen. I called him Eccleston. He made fun of me of that for like a week, but like it's not Eccleston, obviously. Doesn't quite make it out of the gates to go any further than just start off that race. Well, that is, as Beatrice puts it, she calls it sweaty. I would say that is top split Skip Barber Racing at its absolute finest. It's going to be a joy every single week of the season, and that was just the first of them. Next week, we're at the Le Mans Circuit de la Sarthe. Truly terrifying that it would be sent there, but I hear that draft train tracks bring a big audience, so it's going to be unlike anything you've ever seen before in the Skip Barber series. We'll be here to cover it as ever, and we hope you'll be here too. I've been Howie Burroughs, and I'm wishing you a very good morning, evening, or afternoon, wherever you're on the world. I woke up at 10 a.m. to be here. Some of you may just be starting to go to bed on your lovely little Sunday nights now. But wishing you the best. Subscribe,